Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Art and Outdoor Life here with John. So it's been a while since I did an acrylic video painting, and I was outside on my porch enjoying the weather. Here I'm using my very first easel I ever bought, which is a table easel. I love this easel. It's quite big, but it's very nice. So here I'm using Madura paints exclusively. I'm not sponsored by them or anybody for that matter. And so I used some gray for some mountains and some cerulean blue for sky. Using only a few different brushes here. And I'm also using some water just to kind of get some of the excess paint off. And I'm using paper towel to do that with as well. So this is a painting scene I've done a few times. I haven't done one for a long time. And because I haven't touched on acrylics for a while, I decided to just go ahead and paint this simple scene. And that. I hope that everyone's doing well. Hope that you guys are doing really good. So, if you do or you don't know, I paint to relax. For personal time, I paint for my own wellness, mindfulness. It helps with my anxiety, my panic disorder, panic attacks, and my PTSD. There's something I like to say here, and here I'm using ultramarine blue. Sometimes I mix it, I'll be going back and forth mixing it with some white, and then I'll put a little bit of water on here to kind of thin the paint a little bit. That's just a preference that you can do. That's something you can do, is you can add a little bit of water to thin out your paints if you want to. Acrylic paints are water soluble. And this is just a quick, very quick scene. I did speed up the tape a little bit, just because I didn't want to bore everybody. Anyways, getting back to why I paint and such. One of my coping mechanisms that I used for many years was I drank a lot. And I know this is very personal. I don't care if you drink or not. But painting has helped me, instead of picking up a beer or a bottle or whatever, painting has helped me a lot deal with my stress and life in general in such a positive way. And my sobriety means so much to me. And, like the paintings I do, of course I don't do the details, not on the video, I don't. I like to keep it simple, and I like to keep it friendly the best I can. Because, when you start trying to get into being perfect and, worried so much about everything, that could be stressful in its own right. you know, especially for painters and artists. I mean, we are our own worst critics, right? So, so here I'm just putting on some red, a little bit of red there, and some orange. For the sides, I did use raw umber. It kind of mixed, and I was using and that's very dark green, olive green, I think that is. But I was using a disposable palette, which are really awesome. They come in handy, you know. It's something you can, when you're done, you could just throw it away if you want to. You can use them for oils, watercolors, acrylics, different mediums. And ever since I've had my disposable palettes, and they're really cheap, you know, I don't use them all the time, but ever since I've had them, I fell in love with them right away. It's not like oil where I have to, you know, stick my palette in the freezer, right? Or any of that. And as long as you have your paints with you, you know exactly roughly about how much you're going to use of what color. You stick it right on the palette, the disposable palettes. Anyways, okay, so I went over with some of that olive green. I went over some of this raw umber, and now I'm tapping it out with some yellow ochre. Yeah, you know, these are slippery when you're doing this. You know, if I was to do the painting, an entire painting, even in acrylics, it would take me probably about an hour, maybe a little bit more, depending on, I mean, like this here, this is a fairly large canvas panel I'm painting on. I'll put a little dock out there. This is, I think it's 11 by 15. And I put a little bit of shadow coming through there. But it would take me about, and there's one of the cases for my paintbrushes. Again, it's Madura. It would roughly take me about an hour and a half. And that would be because I'd be letting some of it dry as I'm painting. And so here it's basically fast and loose. And just kind of playing around with the colors. I got a couple different colors here. This one is ultramarine again. The sky is cerulean blue. And then I have a blue-green, which looks almost like a baby blue or a sky blue. But it's called blue-green that I also used in this painting. And that's it right there. It's actually called blue-green. It's a very light blue. And, you know, I know in watercolor, traditionalists don't like to use white. And of course, I love white. And so I have no shame. I don't have no shame in using white and watercolor or gouache for that matter. But, white does so many things. So, and I like playing with water, seascapes. You throw a little bit of white in there, and you can create moods, you create scenes, and that's what I'm doing here. But you can also use white to lighten up and give some colors a kind of a pastel look if you mix it with just a touch of white. So I'm taking my brush and I'm just flinging up some white. Just flinging it up, getting some crashes of water here. These are flat brushes I'm using. They're not your stiff brushes though. I have plenty of those, but I didn't use that because the stiff brushes tend to really, when you're doing it like this, if you're not real careful, the stiff brushes will lift the paint. They will move the paint. They will make marks. They will scrape. They scrape. And I didn't use a fan brush in here, and I use fan brushes almost all the time, exclusively. I didn't use a rigger brush. Otherwise, I could have did that dock with a rigger brush, but I didn't have to. The canvas panel is fairly large, so with the sky, I basically took some blue and blended it with, I think this ultramarine blue blended with just a little bit of white. I even put a dash of red in there. Just a touch of red, like a crimson. Another cool thing about acrylic paint is you can use a paper napkin or a paper towel, and you can move paint that way as well. So as I'm painting here, it's so great to be outside painting for the first time this year. I'm looking forward to doing some plein air painting. Yeah, some people do it in the winter and stuff, but not me. I'm just, I'm not wired that way. At least my joints are not wired that way. Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, just a little bit of ultramarine blue here to kind of add some shapes, shadows to this little cliff here. And this is off the fly, so, no big deal. I just wanted to get something in there. And over here, I wanted to create some trees. So I started with some yellow ochre and just going up. And I barely sped the video up. I barely did. I didn't want to do a time lapse. So with the yellow ochre and a little bit of the cerulean blue, and now I'm going to throw in some green up here, and we're gonna create some trees on the right side here. And when you're dabbing it, when you're just pushing the tip of the brush in there, you're not pulling the paint because everything's so slippery. And then I just put a little bit of yellow ochre on top of that. Now this brush is stiff, so you could see it literally is going to move the paint. Even if you got paint on it, it's going to drag the paint. It's not really going to let the paint stay on the surface unless you tap it gently. And then you'll have globs of paint depending on how much you got on there. So I was looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, I want to put some rocks in over here. Now, how am I going to do this? Okay, well, I had some black on my palette, and I decided to go ahead and just randomly stick little brush strokes of black here and there. I think it's ivory black, but it doesn't really matter to me. And then I was like, okay, I'll come over and I'll put just touch some white on there, and of course when you mix the white and black, you get your natural gray. You get, one tone of gray. And that's what I wanted pretty much. And I wanted it to kind of be like there was water coming in and out over there as well. So we're going to come back and we're going to maybe work on these few houses, a couple of the structures in the middle ground there. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about with the paper towel. You can lift paint this way. You can move paint. You can create different textures and shapes. And that's kind of what I was doing there. If you enjoy my videos, please hit like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. I don't make any money off of my videos here, but I enjoy doing them. I do it for myself, but I do it for other people. Hopefully to inspire somebody out there, And sharing is caring, I'm not out to be no superstar or nothing like that, but I really enjoy doing this. I never thought I could paint before, and I'm always learning. And if you know someone that might be interested in painting, you never know. I didn't know I'd like it, and I fell in love with it. So we're going to try to get some more reflection from these structures here into the water. And then we'll come across sideways. And we'll continue some rocks on the lower left. I want to wish you a good evening, morning, and a good day wherever you are. And please come back again, and thank you for viewing. Sincerely yours, John.